All right, in this section, we're going to be talking about how to utilize the SFCC Library Guide on Pacific Northwest history. If you follow this link, it will take you directly to the history guide. And this is where I've pulled together a bunch of resources for you specifically for historical research in this region. The best way to start to use this guide is to start with the tertiary sources. You can see here that it walks you through the steps of developing a good research question, so if you want more resources on that, this is a great place to go as well. If you're still getting familiar with your topic, click here for tertiary sources, and then from here start to explore the different databases we have that are good background information. So there's issues and controversies in American history. At this point, I would even say Wikipedia is a good place to check. Obviously, don't use those in your final resources, but it is a good place to just get familiar with your topic. If you want a more academic version of something like Wikipedia, then I would recommend going to Gale eBooks because they are basically academic encyclopedias, which are very similar to Wikipedia. And I would also highly recommend using something like our history link. And this is an internet page that's basically an encyclopedia of Washington state history, and it can be a great starting point. So for example here, if I look for Olmsted, we can see that I have quite a few different options here. As I said, they've worked in Seattle. We know that they've worked in Spokane. During my pre-research, I found that was interesting, so I might try a different search term like Spokane and Olmsted, or maybe even Manitou. So as you search, always remember to experiment with your keywords because a source can give you different information based off of the different search terms that you use. Some info, not a ton, so let's again try Spokane and Olmsted and see what we get. Here looks interesting. Spokane Board of Park Commissioner begins its duty 1907. All right, so here we're getting into that more details about the park politics, acquiring land and hiring the Olmsted brothers. At the bottom here, it's always going to give you a little information about where that information came from. So this is where a tertiary source can be really helpful for you. I can start to look at, apparently there's a report of the board park commissioners. I can search online and get ideas from other resources from this source. And that's why something like an encyclopedia article, catalog, books that have good bibliographies are going to be a great starting point for you. Also check to see what books we have. I would recommend looking at our ebook collection. Here's a list of individual books in this area. However, if you go to that secondary source option here, it's going to lead you to other resources that will be helpful, including the ebooks. So here I have databases like JSTOR, which is very history specific, History Reference Center. This is where you're going to get things like newspaper articles, scholarly articles, magazines that work really well as those secondary sources. If you have questions about JSTOR, there's a video here on how to use it. And then at this point, this would also be a good place to start searching Google Scholar, which is similar to Google but only provides access to scholarly works. However, it's important to note that you don't have access to everything in Google Scholar, so make sure you look at this handout for more details on how to use it well and to get access to what you need. If you find an article on Google Scholar you can't get access to, go ahead and click here to fill out an interlibrary loan form. That's how we get you articles that we don't have access to automatically. We try to get a hold of it for you and then email it to you. Also make sure that you look at the different web resources that might be helpful in this area depending on what your topic is. Going back to our main page here, we can see that we have a list of other helpful resources for you. When doing local history research, the public library online can be very helpful. And probably the most helpful thing for doing online historical research is going to be found under this primary source tab. Here I have a list of archives in the area. So depending on where your topic took place, what type of information you're looking for, these archives are a great starting point. So we have the archives here from Eastern Washington University, Washington State Digital Archives, University of Washington, National Archives. So this is a great place also to find historical newspapers. All right, at this point, let's move on to that next video, which is going to be about advanced Google searching. So this is going to be how to search by domain and how to target educational archives and nonprofits that are going to be really good resources for your historical research.